Anyways, we are VoD reviewing Toto. Sorry about that. He's currently playing in a team 2 on this shit push map. They have Winston, Genji, Hanzo, Ana, and Kiriko. In the enemy team, we have Torbjorn, we have Doomfist, Hanzo, Zen, and Mercy. Looking at these straight up team comps, I would argue that our boy Toto has the better team. But Toto said he wants a little bit of an understanding how to get better at literally everything. That isn't the most generic question I've ever had. But we'll take it from there, okay? But yeah. Also, chat, if you want to be, do song requests, check the channel point rewards. Anyways, let's take a look.
Objective unlocks in 30 seconds.
Got it.
Incredible movement. Taking a far right position. Obviously a Master Hanzo at play. Obviously a Master Hanzo. Master Hanzo. Headshot. Okay, maybe it's a GM. Nice headshot. Good positioning. Yep, Storm about to kill that. Coggers? That motherfucking flying though.
You can't hide.
Long range takedown confirmed.
We pull ahead of the other team.
Ist nicht getan.
Moving along now.
Paying a little bit of attention. Okay. Moving forward, we'll skip Doomfist. Not bad. Ooh. Yeah, the Doomfist is gonna go for you here. Good dodge. Good kill. Positioning can use a little bit of work, but I'm gonna summarize it at the end of it. I'd rather Sonic. So, for all intents and purposes, I understand why you did what you did there, but just to be clear, this is not a Sonic arrow that you want to repeat. Instead, you want to hit this middle arc right here, right? Because not only will you see if they come from the left side spawn, right side, or middle, but you can also see if they're peeking left or right. It's just more powerful for you and your team as a whole. Doing left side there is not really that good because you're just going to end up, you know, you're just going to end up kind of wasting it. It's a small thing, but a thing nonetheless.
I am in your debt.
Now they have Pharaoh to counter you. I understand why you did the dragon here. I do. I do get it. However, this is never going to be good. You're not going to get any value of this. And the reason why I say this is not only did you do too much on the left, but they can also just run into the right side here. So effectively, you kind of just wasted your dragon here. Instead, your positioning right now is what caused you to get killed, right? The Pharah flew up. She saw you. You missed a couple of arrows. Now the Doomfist is just going to go for you straight away, right? He's doing his job. But ultimately, the way I like to play this, right, is I understand that you're a little bit afraid and you don't really know where they're coming from. But as a Hanzo player, what you can do in this position is you can play up here, right? You have the freedom of going upside down, left, right, whatever. You can use this as a blocking in case someone is like shooting at you. Or you can play over on the right side and just aim down range. You can play a little bit here, but this positioning is just way better. Also, if the Doomfist decide to go for you, you can listen for the sound cues and you can jump down here and then right back up, right? Effectively wasting his cooldowns, and that will ultimately get the robot to push a little bit further, making it so you're kind of, you know, extending your lead a little bit. As for the Dragon ult, I like to use the Hanzo Dragon here as a means to either run down range here to block them from getting to the robot, or waiting and hiding for the fight to happen on the point and then use it on the point instead. Instead, we kind of opted into playing bottom right. We're getting isolated by the Doomfist. There's a Mercy, there's a Pharaoh, there's a Soldier. Everything is blocking you from being able to move forward, and the only way for you to actually survive this is move backwards. But if you move backwards, then your tank is getting isolated and he dies. So this position, way, way better. Playing down here and playing down there on the bottom is a positional error, and we could have played that way, way better. And we also used our ultimate, which wasn't great. Chat, is that understood? And now we go Cassidy.
Time to try again.
Do not leave the robot.
Got it.
Hey, Nike. Happy to help. There's no need for us to peek here either, Toto. We could have played this safe and waited a little bit. I understand why you did what you did, but we could have played it back a little bit and saved ourselves from dying there.
Ultimate is charging.
I do like the Cole pick, though. It kind of counters what they're doing, so I'm not against it. It's just, yeah, we didn't need to go out there and die. What is that trinket? It looks like a boxing glove, or I don't know. Fucking PP Mercy, man. Your Anna is standing right next to you. Wow, is this GM? Is this GM? Feels like my GM games, dude. Okay. I can't tell the difference. Yep. Could have opted in for a Family Hammer on the Doomfist there to get him out of the game faster. And I guess the Farah kill is unlucky, but I'm paying attention to your positioning right now.
Rescue that robot. Be nourished.
Concava, kare conosciuto Tana, sarà zio. Ora. Again, so right now we haven't seen a single Family Hammer, and I want to make a point here because a lot of the time is that people generally don't want to use Family Hammer. I understand why, right? There are two things that I'm seeing that are happening right now. One, a very important part is never use your role against a Doomfist who has an ultimate, right? Never do that because you are a free target the moment you use your role, right? You want to keep your role safe, and you want to have it for whenever the Doomfist uses ultimate, right? The reason why we do that is so we can actually roll away from the ultimate instead of using it prematurely, so he can use like jump on you and kill you straight away, right? Another thing I want to point out too is that 3 different separate occasions right now, we could have just killed the Doomfist right off the bat with a Family Hammer. Not entirely sure why you're not using it. It's still a pretty strong ability against chunky targets up close. So I'd like to see a little bit more usage Family Hammer on targets who are that up close to you. If they're going to play it within the vicinity and the effective range of Family Hammer, you might as well fucking use it, IMO. We don't need to make you look flashy. We don't need to make you look cool. We don't need to be like, oh my god, I need to hit like several headshots in a row. I mean, we're getting the kills, right? But ultimately, anything that saves time and anything that makes, you know, your play a little bit more efficient is the way on the route we should go. So I kind of want to point that out a little bit. High Noon got a kill? The fuck is this? A fucking double kill, nonetheless!
Nano boost is charging. I understand.
My ultimate is charging.
I must recharge.
If you move up a little bit closer, you're in the drop-off range.
Taking the robot.
Right now, you're doing less damage because of the range that you're playing at. Okay, almost. Dead. I mean, your tank was dead, right? So there's no way you're winning that.
Death ain't on my doorstep.
Death is ain't on my doorstep yet. Your head's in the clouds, but your grave's down here. Mighty fine. Was that Cole? He's just spamming voice lines. Jesus. Yep. Might as well wait it out a little bit.
They're moving the barricade. They're about to take the lead.
Anyone notice they took our lead? Let's pick it up.
Found the hammer. Found the hammer.
no, no, you're gonna fucking fail the hammer. I'm gonna be fucking mad, bro. You're making me fucking ragey. There's no fail the hammer. What the fuck?
My ultimate is almost ready.
We need more fail the hammer.
My ultimate is almost ready.
Death people happy. Yay, murder. Death. Everyone dies. Slaughter. Slaughter everything. Yay, murder.
Maybe a different angle.
Death to everything that moves. Yay. Break their bones. Suck their blood. Eliminate their bloodline. Yay.
Don't let them take another step.
Swagged paw. Swagged paw.
Got the robot. Let's move.
Enemy team has been vanquished. My ultimate ability is charging.
What's up, PCP? Thanks so much for the 2 months. Appreciate you, brother. Okay, we can hear the fire on the left. So we can reposition accordingly right now. Okay, that's better.
My ultimate is back in
My
control.
ultimate is charging.
That's Steve. Are you trying to make a point saying that 100k VoD redemption for something that normally people charge you $60 an hour for, and something that you could just passively get by watching the stream, 100k is steep for a free VoD review? Huh? And I'm doing it for free? Are you trying to make a point right now saying that 100k channel points for a VoD review is steep? God damn. Alright, dude. Woof. I got roasted, chat. I got roasted. I think after today we might actually have to, you know, downgrade it to like 50 points or something so everyone can do it. God damn.
My ultimate is charging. Your team is show them where
Okay, slightly better positioning. This is something that's going to punish you in the future, Toto. I want you to pay very close attention to this. When you play Cole, he's arguably the loudest person in the game when it comes to even like crouching and just normal walking. If you're going to take a position like this, you need to stop moving faster, right? The higher rank that you start climbing up to, the more so people will start figuring out sound cues, right? I can guarantee you that if I did this and there's no one around me and I'm starting to like move around underneath here, you need to be very careful, right? Because his footsteps are very easy, like identifiable, and they are extremely loud. So in a case like this, all it takes is for the Pharah to, like, if this Pharah was a better player, if I was that if I was this Pharah, I literally would have taken my Mercy down here, and I just played this angle right here instead, and I just kill you for free, and then all of a sudden it's a 5v4. So we need to be a little bit careful. I'm not saying that this positioning is bad, okay? That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is, if we're going to be here, we need to stop moving faster. I would have stopped, like, around here, and just not make any noise until my tank is with me. And then, at that point, I would have, like, looked on the right side here and see if the soldier comes down and pushing or whatever. But it's a small thing, but it's a thing nonetheless. A lot of things, like, small things like this. The fuck? I'm just pointing it out because it's a small thing, but it's something that's going to make or break the difference as you start climbing higher up. Small tidbit, if you actually just rolled forward, throw the nade, and took the left side here, he would have died, and you probably would have saved your soldier as well. In this position right here, what a lot of people tend to do in different ranks is that when they know they want to kill something, right? We've talked about this extensively on stream, right? Like I'm saying probably more so than anything else. Chat, how many of you, I'm asking everyone, subs, non-subs, lurkers, I want everyone to answer this. How many of you tunnel vision a target and as you start shooting at it, you move forward to that target instead of standing still and using cover? I feel like a lot of people do that. And it's a habit, right? It's a bad habit because this is something like I like to call stressing your shots, right? We want to kill something so much that our brain just automatically shuts off and nothing else matters. And we start walking towards that target because inherently we feel like the closer we are, the more accurate we get. But the reality of the situation is you could have prevented yourself from dying here and probably get the kill. And a lot of it comes from the fact that when you stand still, your aim seems to be a lot better. When you start moving, you start missing more. So instead of doing what we did here, why don't we revisit what just went wrong, right? So we have God positioning right now, right? Right here and right now. We're in the perfect position to take care of what's going on right now, right? Instead, what we opt in to do right now is that our soldier gets killed by him, right? We miss our shots, and then we start moving towards him. And as we're moving, we're also missing our shots. And then we put ourselves in a bad position that could have been, circumvented by the fact that we have really good positioning right now. Why are we opting in for leaving our safe space, walking out in the open, and just becoming a primary target, right? Instead, we can do what's smarter and just stay behind the wall. One, wait it out, or two, use the wall to your advantage, right? If he's aiming at you and he's trying to kill you, right, he's not doing damage to anyone else in your team. So effectively, just staying here, taking your time, lining up your shot is infinitely better than to just walk towards the target when they're visoring out in the open. Do you understand what I'm saying, Toto? So by walking out, we're doing like 5 different errors, but playing around the wall, we're actually providing cover for ourselves and we don't have to rely on moving and shooting at the same time. Instead, we can just sidestep, shoot if we have to. So we're playing the safe card, and arguably, 100% better. But instead, we kind of opted in for, walking out in the open and kind of just dying, right? So, not great. Also, your grenade was off cooldown, so we could have punished him way earlier as well if you really wanted to.
Lucky shot.
God damn it, I hate push maps. I fucking hate them so much, chat. I just want to fucking floss my foot with barbed wire. They're so garbage. Nice kill.
Stop the robot. The robot is in our possession.
Nice kill.
30 seconds remaining. My ultimate is almost ready.
My ultimate is almost ready.
All the layers.
Dead eyes.
10 seconds.
It's gonna be last fight right now, so we can play. We can opt in to play a little bit more. Oh, you're going for the flank.
My ultimate's ready.
What are you gonna do with it though? Nope. Okay, so let me tell you this straight away, right? Obviously we lost this game, right? But I'm gonna tell you this right now. It's never ever worth it to go on a 15 to 20 second flank with Cole for the sake of trying to get off a high noon, right? The reason why I say that is because high noon is extremely unreliable. It's arguably the worst ultimate in the entire game, right? So there's never ever going to be a situation where you're going to find yourself in a position where you get like the perfect high noon. There is no perfect high noon, right? The best you can get away with is maybe 1 or 2 kills. Maybe you can get more, but it requires team synergy, and it also requires your team to set up a grab or maybe a shatter or anything of that sort, right? It's never ever worth it to go on a 15-second, flank like this. Arguably, if you wanted to go for a flank for the sake of like trying to get kills because you want to utilize your aim from high ground, okay, that's a different story altogether. But in a last fight like this, where your team is already fighting and you're going on a 15-second flank, it's never going to be a good idea, right? You need to be there. You need to be in the nit and gritty. You need to be like up close and personal if you have to. I'm okay with you taking the stairs up there, taking high ground. That's okay. That's okay. I'm fine with that. However, I'm not okay with like going around for 20 seconds and then dropping a high noon when 3 of your team members are dead, right? It's never going to utilize. And even if your high noon gets value there, you're still the last one standing, right? So if you don't get a 5k with a high noon, ultimately that flank was just completely useless. And I'm not saying that in a way to like say that you're a shit player. That's not what I'm saying. It's just that our decision making needs to be a little bit better. If I were to give you something, I'm going to try and give you the most constructive criticism that I could humanly possibly can. I'm not trying to be mean, all right? I'm not trying to be mean here, but your aim needs a lot of work. When you're playing Hanzo, it seems to me like you feel a lot more comfortable in your shoes. Not really sure why. Maybe you feel like Hanzo is more your main. But when it comes to Cole, your aim is severely lacking, right? And the way we get around that is !aim. We aim train. We get more comfortable in our boots. We try and you know, and practice a little bit more. That's the beauty with aim, right? That I can give you the tools to get better, right? I can give you the tools to get from point A to point B to where you want to be, right? The reality of the situation right now is that our aim just isn't good enough to do these flanks that we're doing. Instead, we need to start with the basics, right? We need to get a little bit more comfortable with hit scan, right? Because on Hanzo, you're getting a lot of kills, right? On Hanzo, there's a lot of positional errors that we talked about, right? Not so much on the aim, but when we play Cole, then all of a sudden we have positional errors and we also have an aim error as well. And I feel like you need to work on your aim a little bit more. I don't know if you inherently feel like you could be better at tracking or if you could be better at, tracking or flicking. It's entirely up to you what you feel like. But when it comes to it, you need to start really working on your aim a little bit more. So if I were you, I would start maybe like before you play every day, or maybe like set aside 20-30 minutes where you do the aim training a little bit and get a little bit more accustomed to how it feels like and take it from there, right? As for the positional errors, I mean, I kind of pointed out to you kind of how you should view the team fights, how you should position yourself a little bit better, how you should manage your cooldowns a little bit more. Honestly, I could go on for another hour and give you tips and tricks on how to actually work, but I do believe that there's a thing called diminishing returns, and I do think that if I were to overwhelm you with like 30 different things that you should improve upon, then all of a sudden I feel like everything falls apart. So if I were to give you something, take a good look at the VoD, go back to where I pointed out your positional errors, always try to abuse high ground as much as possible, and try to be a little bit more devious when it comes to your ultimate and cooldowns in general, right? It's okay to use Family Hammer on chunky targets in front of you. That's not a bad play. A lot of the times you're opting in for left clicking, but the reality is you could have done like 3 times the damage if you're Family Hammering. So you need to understand how much stronger that ability truly is when you're playing against a tank who's literally up close and personal to you. The second thing I want to point out is we're not utilizing the grenade at all, right? The twice that you used your nade, you got a kill. But the other 10 times, you just don't use the grenade at all. And I'm not entirely sure why. You need to use that grenade as much as possible, right? That grenade is broken. Like, it's one of the strongest abilities in the entire game, and you're barely utilizing it. So that is something that you need to focus on a little bit as well. There's a lot of times where a Pharah flies above you, you shoot her down to half HP, and there's a Kiriko running right across you. You shoot her once, but you could have naded both, and you opted in to not nade either one of them. You get shattered, and then you die. Positioning needs work. My number one priority right now is I want you to utilize the aim trainer as much as possible. The more you use it, the faster you'll get from point A to point B. But if you're a person who obviously you have a 9-to-5 job and you don't play as much Overwatch, I would opt into, set aside a little bit of time to focus on the aim a little bit because it does need work. Other than that, I do think your Hanzo is good. That character just needs a lot of positioning work, and I did give you alternatives to do that, but all in all, it can get a lot better. And I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but there needs to be a lot of improvement here. Utilize those tips and tricks into your gameplay. Focus more on the aim and focus on the positioning as a second thing. And then I would love to see a VoD review from you in the future to see how kind of you integrated these things into your gameplay. And I'd like to see how you evolve forward. How do you aim as Hanzo when you're on high ground? I find it hard when enemies can move back, front, left, and I feel like aim doesn't help with that. Oh boy. You have this thing, right? Why aim when you can just shoot at their feet? So you literally shoot your Stormbow in front of them instead, and you just get kills like nothing, right? Yeah, you're not wrong. using a projectile character from high ground to low ground has always been slightly harder, but to circumvent that, we have Stormbow. So if someone is playing like right there, if you have a hard time aiming, you can use the bounce and the hitbox of the arrows to actually hit targets.